Hello everyone, welcome to Friday Report Out. We've got two teams reporting out today. The Estates and Facilities Recruitment Day report out that's been long awaited and very exciting, and I've been part of that team as well, so looking forward to that. And then the lovely John White and Christina in the patient experience team talking about the complaints improvement work after that. So here's Phil. Hi, Phil.
Hi. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes late. I apologise. That's not at all in the spirit of the Leeds improvement method. So apologies for that. Sorry, Sophie. Were you just kicking off with the ENF?
Yeah.
Item 1. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Great. So welcome everybody. Apologies again for being late, but we'll get straight into item 1 with the recruitment day. Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks, Phil. I'll start us off. So hello, my name's Sophie Williams. I'm an improvement specialist and I'm the lead for this work. I was asked to support the Estates and Facilities team to improve their recruitment processes because our new recruits and potential employees are experiencing long delays. During the pandemic, a new way of recruiting was adopted called the COVID Bank. This resulted in a complex recruitment timeline with several process steps and defects resulting in duplication. So I began to collect data and understand the enormity of this challenge in February this year. Using Leeds improvement method techniques, I recruited process owners, sponsors and team members from all different sides of facilities, also resourcing, administration, organisational development, and we had the privilege of outside eyes from James, our porter, and Dolph, our quality partner. We discovered the roles that most frequently require new staff for ENF are facilities technicians. They're crucial for integrated care across the organisation. This role includes portering services, cleaning response and support, ward housekeepers, catering, logistics, and ward environment porters. So after initially engaging with the teams and the workstream sponsors, we decided if we could tackle facilities technicians roles first, we could scale up and spread our improvements across estates and facilities, and then hopefully LTHT. I'll pass you over to our colleague, Dave.
Thanks, Sophie. Hi, I'm David Smith. I work as part of the operational facilities team, and I'm presenting on behalf of the process owners for this work stream. On screen, this is our value stream map showing the current state. In summary, the data shows that our candidates were waiting on average 14 weeks from shortlisting to starting their training. And on closer inspection, it was clear there were many steps and stakeholders involved in the recruitment process, which are detailed on screen. Each part of the process can lead to unnecessary delays, so it was important as a group we explored all aspects of the recruitment process as part of this work stream. The challenge was very clear, and with collaborative working and following the Leeds improvement method principles, we embarked on looking to improve the recruitment process. As part of our work stream, it was very important we fully understood the views, thoughts and feelings of staff who had experienced firsthand going through the existing recruitment process. So we undertook a short survey with staff from the LGI and St James's. 80% of new staff we asked did not feel positive about their recruitment process experience, but this was not surprising. Most said they preferred the recruitment day face-to-face and enjoyed the ward walkabouts to get a real feel for the hospital environment before starting, something that had been lost throughout the pandemic. 100% of staff involved in the hiring of facility staff answered negatively about the communication across the teams and the effectiveness of the process as a whole. Therefore, the results again reinforced we needed to review and improve the process. Okay. It was also important to understand all aspects of the recruitment process and where defects, delays occur. This slide simply shows there are many delays being experienced during the onboarding part of the process, and again, as a group, this would be an area of focus that we would need to work on. So I'll just pass you back to Sophie.
So, after several times meeting with the sponsors leading up to the improvement events, we had to discuss metrics. We really wanted to reduce the lead time. So they set us an ambitious target of 60 days with the hope of reaching 30 days longer term. We wanted to ensure candidates were set up well to bring in the correct ID and subscribe to the DBS update service so that this didn't cause future duplication. Importantly, how people felt about the effectiveness of the recruitment, as Dave just spoke about, was also something we wanted to measure. Using experience-based design, we'd like to reduce the amount of negative feelings to 0%. Lastly, our 5S measure was aligned with combining several spreadsheets into one and to ensure consistency in terms of updating it to a standard agreed by the team. I'll now pass you over to Mandy.
Thank you, Sophie. Hello, my name is Mandy and I work in the QA. I am a team member of this work. We all came together as an MDT and we took part in 9 Kaizen sessions, which generated a lot of ideas. We wanted to come up with a process that benefited the staff already in post, as well as attracting new recruits, but in a timely manner. Some of our ideas were based on some past processes pre-COVID that worked very well, but required streamlining and brought up to date for what works in 2022 and beyond. Previously, we were creating multiple adverts for our sites, and now we will be advertising via one joint advert, removing waste from the process. Our pilot day on the 11th of August resulted in 11 successful candidates. I'll now pass you back to Sophie.
Thanks, Mandy. So what did the team do? So on behalf of Amna Amjad, the lovely Amna, who works in Central Recruitment Team, she's also a process owner for this work. I'll share with you some of the actions she took on in her own words. We realised that sometimes candidates might find the current list of documents we send to be confusing, and it's quite long and wordy. So my action was to create a basic picture guide of commonly used documents, which is kind of on the screen, but it's Will Smith, so we won't go there. I also created a brief fact sheet of the onboarding process and what it looks like from a candidate perspective. This is to be handed out after a candidate is successful at interview and is designed to guide them through filling out their onboarding successfully. After these Kaizen days, it showed me that the importance of feedback. So I created a survey to ask recruitment leads and hiring managers about their understanding of the process used in central recruitment. I will use this feedback to hopefully improve our systems and communication between the CSUs and recruitment team. I'll now pass you over to Sandra.
Thank you, Sophie. Hello, my name is Sandra Smith and I'm an Administrative Officer with the Trust and a Process Owner for Administration within this project. So I found the process both enlightening and of benefit to me to be able to see the processes candidates undertake for the role of the facilities technician. Usually, I only get to see what happens after the recruitment day has taken place. So to try to make things smoother and to provide as much information to the candidates in advance of the day and afterwards, we looked at, updated and produced an amended advert, detailing the roles that we have to offer at the time the advert was placed, therefore giving interested parties details of the shifts we had to offer, so anyone applying would feel that no time had been wasted by not having their preferred shifts to offer. Also, we took the opportunity to promote the benefits of working here with the Trust. Also, a guidance document, which was sent out to shortlisted candidates, attached to their invites to the recruitment day. It advised and reminded them what they needed to bring with them on the day. This was to speed up the pre-employment checks, including references. It also included a breakdown of the recruitment day itself. Finally, a fact sheet, so they could take it away with them to hopefully answer any questions they may have forgot to ask at the time, for example, rate of pay, payday, annual leave entitlement. Also, what to expect next regarding references and onboarding. I'd now like to pass you over to James, my colleague in this process.
Thanks, Sandra. Hello, my name is James Wade and I work within the Estates and Facilities team here at St James's as a facilities technician. I was lucky enough to be invited to help on this project as a team member and advisor because Sophie felt my experience as a newly recruited porter will be a great benefit to this piece of work. One of the ideas born during this project is creating a properly structured buddy system designed to help new recruits settle in and get to grips with our Leeds way values. One of the roles of the buddy will be to offer job-specific guidance and advice, but also show them the layout of the hospital. Having a buddy system full of ward housekeepers and porters who enjoy training and also showcase the values will mean one thing: success. And I think this is something that I will carry this on past this piece of work, because I think if we have a good team of buddies, the new candidates, they'll work hand in hand, and the shop floor will be full of people who are happy, knowledgeable, and they'll adhere to the values. And on the next slide, if you can, Soph, this is just some feedback from our first pilot day, which was for the ward housekeeping positions, which to me was a huge success, as we had 11 attendees and 11 job offers. You can see a couple of quotes there. The whole recruitment day was great and the staff were all absolutely brilliant. And below that, staff were friendly and welcoming, which obviously is great to see, because we were all there and we all did his best to make the new candidates feel relaxed, because we all know what interviews can be like and recruitment days. On the other side of the slide, you can see the lowest scoring feedback were comments mainly based on the venue being hard to find, the environment being small, the rooms scattered, which is something that our team echoed to. Now, making these mistakes like the ones that we did can sometimes be a good thing, which is alluded to by Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, who said the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. So thankfully, issues like small buildings that are hard to find can easily be solved, as we now know for next time to book a bigger and more accessible building. And I will now pass you to my colleague Tracy, who will go into a little bit of detail about the recruitment value stream's future state.
Thank you, James. Hello, my name is Tracy Weldon. I work in facilities and I am a team member for this work. In the future, we wanted a more streamlined process that meant recruitment days were on a rolling monthly rota. This would allow more responsibility for more team members, which would enable a collaborative approach. We looked at the whole process from the advert going out, shortlisting process, what the day included, presentation, scenarios, IT test and sync task, right down to inviting the candidates on the day. The Kaizen team observed the process that had been previously in place pre-COVID and observed all sections. What was fed back into the team was the sync task did not add value, as this observation could be covered in other sections. There was some great work produced and relationships built for the future. On the first recruitment day, the ID sheet was introduced. The fact sheet, if the candidates were successful, was given out to enable a smoother process. And going forward on the next recruitment day, the identification process will be trialled. Ongoing work will be done to ensure this continuous work is carried out and a desire to go paperless too. I will now pass you back to Sophie.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
So what are the scores on the doors? I appreciate it's a bit of a small screen, but just to give you an overview, in June we had a bottleneck of COVID bank candidates to work through, which increased our lead time. In July, the test we did helped us estimate that on average candidates would be through the process in 44 days. Some were through as quick as 21 days. We had our pilot in August, as you've heard, and we're yet to see the lead time for these new employees. Hopefully it'll be quicker. Not all of our candidates are signing up for DBS update service or bringing the correct ID documents still, so that's something we hope to continuously improve with the actions you've heard from the team. The process owners will survey the new employees again in September, October and beyond, and the team will be back after 30, 60, 90 days to share progress. I'll now pass you over to Dolph.
Hello, my name is Dolph Mogendorf. I'm a quality partner for the Trust and a team member of this work. As the outside eyes, albeit all on teams, it was great to see the various individuals from St James and LGI form a cohesive team over time. They applied the method and the Leeds Way values as they developed a robust new recruitment process which is less cumbersome and time-consuming and more effective for both the Trust and the applicants. As they worked together, they built up trust so that they became flexible enough to positively adjust the process at a late moment and had in many ways a very successful first pilot recruitment day using that new process. Sally Wright unfortunately can't be with us today, but her positive quote is inspiring. I'll just give you a moment to read this. I'll now pass you back to Sophie.
Thank you, Dolph. The slide's gone a bit funny and it's missed up the beginning bit. I think you get the gist though. So even better if. It takes many dissimilar minds to come together and empower each other to make a difference. The team have worked really hard to keep on going. Sometimes the team felt they needed permission to move forward from more senior leaders, and a mixture of operational pressures, annual leave over school holidays, meant there were a few stops and starts with this work. We're seeking a standard venue to host our recruitment days because in E&F we hire around 300 facilities technicians a year alone, and that's just one small part of E&F. And we know without standards there can be no improvement. Unfortunately, the timing of the new NHS Jobs 3 platform means that some of the improvement work the team have done will need to be reviewed and more PDSAs conducted. There is consistently a problem with references and swiftly getting the information we need to process candidates through the process. So we need some more time to do some root cause analysis on this and consider options for mistake proofing. The team will continue to measure the outputs from the recruitment days and will share back a report out. We're working with central recruitment on best practice for NHS Jobs 3, and as the team have said, September's cohort will trial the ID checks on the day and start the onboarding processes earlier. The team are working on standard work for shortlisting and references to enable more junior members of staff to grow and develop. Thank you to the teams who have been patient, persistent and determined to make this work. Thank you to those directly involved and those indirectly involved in the work. I'm more than proud that the teams have worked together to break down silos and smash through some of the mental valleys that were deeply embedded across the estates and facilities. A real culture shift is starting across facilities, and this, of course, is only the beginning. Thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sophie, and also David, Mandy, Sandra, James, Tracy and Dolph for that wonderful piece of work. Brilliant week. Lots of questions, I'm sure, from folks, but as we normally do with Report Out, we'll go straight on to our next presentation and then take all of our Q&A at the end. So if we could, I can see Christina on there. I'm not sure I can see John as yet, but can we? John, right. So and colleagues, I'm sure in the patient experience team, will hand over to you for the complaints improvement programme. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Phil. Hello, everybody. My name is Christina Kozłowska. I'm the head of patient experience in the organisation, and I am really proud to be able to be with you today because this is an update on a complaints improvement programme which we have now been running in the organisation for 2 years. So many of you might have heard this before, but we want to talk today about where we might be taking this programme going forward and to give you an update on that. So just to start with, a quick recap about what's happened today for anybody who's missed it. So we have been concentrating on focusing on improving the timeliness of complaints and the quality of complaints, but focusing on the part of the complaints pathway that directly involves CSUs. And we measure that through 2 metrics that were specifically developed to support this programme with the support of the KPO team. So they were something called lead time and something else called defect data. And these 2 charts in front of you, which I accept are really, really tiny, do help us understand that actually for the 2 years that we've been running this, we have seen progress, which is brilliant, on improving the timeliness of complaints and also improving the range of experience that complainants have in how long they wait for their complaints. So we used to have a situation where, you know, unfortunately, some complainants might wait huge amount of time, 5 months for a complaint, and others we were nearer to the target, but that range is now really rapidly decreasing because we're managing to improve the ones that are at the top of that range, so that's wonderful. Our defect data shows us that it has remained largely consistent actually, and around our internal target of 15%. So actually what I'm sharing with you here is an improving picture that is showing that we're going in the right direction. So next slide, please. So this next slide is a little bit more visual, and it's just a different way of showing you that things are improving. So what we've done here is capture the number of comments that are coming back from CSUs to contribute to a complaint response that are overdue, actually by the time they are first received by the complaints team. And you can see here that we have had significant improvement from the point that we started the programme, where you see the big dip at the top. But we would absolutely acknowledge that it's clear that although we have achieved some progress, we're still not where we want to be, and know that we have more to do. But I just want to talk a little bit about what we've learned in the programme today. And so if we just move to the next slide. So this is what we've learned so far, and it's really important, isn't it, to reflect on how that has been for us. So we've had a couple of CSU cohorts through the programme already. We've completed what we've called KPO 1 and 2. These have been bed holding CSUs, and we've got KPO 3 underway. So we are absolutely learning that we need all the CSUs involved in this. This is a trust-wide programme, and actually we're not going to end up in the place that we need to be until all the CSUs have been through this. That's the starting point. The really valuable conversations that have come out of this programme have been to identify the core activities and behaviours, actually the standard work that CSUs are exposing that is required to help us achieve improved outcomes. And as we're working this through, we're then able to share those with other CSUs to embed them, and that's brilliant. So that's things like making calls to complainants at the point that a complaint is first received into a CSU to understand their concerns in more detail, and implementing complaint huddles that help drive achievement of complaint targets. We have also delivered a complaints coaching programme, and I have to look to John, who will introduce himself shortly, and his team for having delivered that fantastic activity. And this is where the complaints team actually helicopter in and support CSUs to improve their response writing where they need that help. And then we have also delivered a complaints training programme facilitated by an external company, AKD. And that's because one of the key messages and learning that's come out of this for us has been absolutely that staff are asking for training on this subject because they have found themselves in positions of responsibilities, having to be involved in complaints, having never actually been taught ever how to do it. So we need to fix that. And that's what John and team have been doing as well. We have changed the way the complaints team have acted, and they now support CSUs directly in their complaint huddles by attending those meetings and supporting the conversations. And we've heard a lot from the CSUs actually about the frustrations of working with lots of different quality assurance buddies. And knowing that can cause difficulties because people are inconsistent. And so we have brought a forum together so that people who are involved in that role can discuss, all of us can discuss how we enact that and how we can ensure consistency in the work that we do. Okay, so the next steps where we're taking this, we are responding to challenges essentially that have been raised by CSUs. So what we've found happening is that we've seen the data improving, but not as much as we would like to see it improving. And we're starting to hear from CSUs that they feel that they are not as in control of the data and in being able to improve the data as the data might first suggest. And John will talk a little bit more about the interdependencies around that and why that is tricky. The second thing we're doing is running what we hope might be the last of our cohorts of the programme, which is planned for January. And that's going to include non-bed holding CSUs. So the CSUs that might not be lead for complaints, but actually are highly important in supporting complaints. And we're also going to put the complaints team themselves through the programme. We've got a second round of the complaints training programme starting, and we are doing a piece of work around focusing on the themes arising from complaints, which again, John will go on to talk about. What we have determined is that it's really important to focus now not only on the work of the CSUs. That's where this programme started, because when we did the initial data crunching around it, it was where we recognised the greatest impact would be had in making improvements. But it's completely time, I feel now, to move away from that and to recognise that actually, unless the whole of the pathway is looked at, we are not going to get the result in this organisation that we want to. Achieving complaint timeliness is not solely the responsibilities of CSUs. So I will pass over to John. Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Christina. So I'm John White. I'm the lead nurse in the patient experience team. One of my responsibilities is complaints. And so very pleased to come and talk to you today. So the vast majority of complaints will have actions that arise from the complaint. And these actions will be for the CSUs to take forward themselves. Previously, it's not been possible to record these actions within a central location. And so it's been very hard and very challenging for us to examine trust-wide themes from complaints. So as part of the programme, we've now enabled this to be possible. To achieve this, we have created new fields within Datix to allow CSUs to record their actions and to monitor them to the conclusion. And I know James Ingray, our information analyst, is on the call today. So James has worked extremely hard to make this achievable. So thank you, James, for that. In addition, we're asking CSUs to report their actions from complaints through the patient experience assurance programme, and these will also be used to inform the CSU quality review meeting discussions as well. And we know that actions from complaints are a point of learning for the trust, extremely important. So the graph that you see here in front of you is the first that we've created, or the first that James has created, and actually depicts the complaint actions completed by all CSUs. And it's actually quite pleasing to see that the fields are now being completed, and we will continue to monitor progress as time goes on. So through our discussions with the CSUs in the programme, as Christina alluded to, one major discussion point has been the evolution of the data that we're presenting. And one major discussion point has been the influence of non-lead CSUs in multi-CSU complaints. That they are complex complaints, so and providing a response within the allocated time period provided. So many CSUs said, well, we are being held up by another CSU when they're trying to get the complaint out. So this is really why we've wanted to drill down into this data. So our examination of the data is of interest, but we do need to interpret it with caution when you look at this. For example, although Leeds Dental Institute shows that 100% failure to meet the allocated time period, this is actually for only one complaint. So that's really important to bear in mind. But however, when we look at AMS, for instance, which has not met the target 83% of the time, but they actually contribute more to multi-complaints than any other CSU, a huge amount of work. So this is important for us to understand, to really continue with more focused work. And this is the idea of the evolution of the data that we're seeing. One really important element is examining the themes that arise from complaints. And unfortunately, one of our biggest themes is actually staff attitude. So we've commenced a quality improvement faculty within our team, within our department, to explore this in more detail. And so we have a current focus on reviewing the complaint subject fields within Datix through a tabletop exercise of both PALs and complaints that come in to validate the data that has already been input into Datix, and already it's actually revealing some interesting insight into how the fields are completed. So we'll present that at a later date once we have more information. We've also asked the CSUs to present their action plans from themes arising from complaints at the patient experience assurance programme, and also in relation to staff attitude, we have the support of HR to work together to focus on how this can be addressed across the trust, with the outpatient CSU showing particular interest in taking forward this work with us. So a really important piece of work that is core to our values within the trust. Finally, as we have worked through the KPO programme, as we've discussed, interesting data is continually emerging from quite a complex topic. In this example, the role of the corporate responsibility, that is in complaint response timeliness, is spotlighted. So this graph shows the time from when the complaints team receive a draft response to when the executive team sign off a complaint. So if you look closely, you'll find the mean is 19 working days, which from the complainant experience is just under 3 weeks. And this is of quite concerning to us, really, and really we hadn't picked up on this before. So this is going to be a specific piece of work within the KPO4 programme, as improvement is required with this part of the complaints process. And so I know Phil's on the call. Phil, obviously chairing the meeting today, we'll be working with the exec team in regards to this, Phil, as well. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much, and happy to take any questions.
Fantastic, thanks, John, Christina, for that. It's a really important piece of work to keep us updated on, and we'll. It's good to see the kind of methodology being applied to that improvement work. So well done. It's been a good. It's been a long-standing project, but it's great to see it making great progress. Okay, so we've had two fantastic presentations about work that I think what's really inspiring is it might be work that could be seen as not quite frontline, but actually both areas really important to how we are as an organisation, both in terms of being the best place to work, but also the best for that quality and patient experience. So I think it's two really important areas. So I'll open it out for questions, please, to either of our teams that have presented today. I just wondered if I could start off, actually, just if I may, just actually for Sophie and the team, just about how you felt you got, or where you felt you got to with that kind of whole team engagement. ENF, very big CSU, big range of staff who work in very sort of separate parts of ENF, as it were. How was the feeling that you were getting the whole of the CSU cited and connected to this?
I'll wait to see if anybody wants to add onto my bit, but I was just going to say that it was difficult, Phil, because it is huge, and we did as many Gemba walks as we could to get out there and speak to people. And obviously, James, being a porter on the Gemba, was spreading the word for us. And we also have Kat Izzard isn't here today, but she works in the comms team for ENF, and she did a really good job at updating ENF as a wider whole about where we were in the value stream work. So that really helped. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that.
Anybody from the team want to come in on that? Don't feel obliged, but
I mean, one thing I can say, Sophie, is I enjoyed, to be fair, working alongside you guys. I think if you told me this time last year that I'd be working alongside some of the people that I have, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But I think what I've learned definitely throughout this process is that the empowerment that I felt. So I came obviously as a porter 2 years ago, but now I feel a lot more than just a porter, if that makes sense. So I see working with different types of people, different job titles. I think it's been great as a sort of a team on a whole. Yeah, that's all I can say really on that.
Thanks, James, for that.
I just want to add as well. Hi, Tracy. Also, it was great to meet so many different people from different areas of ENF, and more of an understanding of what OL have to do. Sandra's team, it's just really. It was good to just learn everyone's roles, and I think we've just all come together a lot more. We've got more of an understanding of each other, and we can maybe communicate a lot better now.
Great. No, that's really good, and actually that coming together is such a really powerful kind of component of the method and the approach that's really great and chimes with our values. Dawn, sorry, you've had your hand up for a while. I'll bring you in.
No, that's fine. Thanks, Phil. I think you kind of asked the question that I was going to pose anyway, so you stole my thunder. But my first comment is brilliant pieces of work, and it's always so heartwarming to hear of the successes that those improvement activities make. But as BP for estates and facilities, I've got to say, guys, you've just made my whole day, because I've been hearing anecdotally about how it's been going and what's been happening. But actually to get those successes that you've got through the work that you've put in is absolutely fantastic. And to hear people talking about how they've engaged with the process, we just need to do more of this, because that's the power of this work, is getting those guys on the Gemba, on the shop floor, involved in it, and recognizing that they have a voice and that they can make things better for everybody. It's really fantastic to hear. So thank you all.
I think it's all down to Sophie, to be fair. I think Sophie's been the glue of this team. Because we've had us tough days, but obviously it's been tough, and you've had meetings that I've not been to, and I don't think we'd have got this far if it wasn't for you, to be fair, Soph. So I just wanted to say that little bit as well. You've been like the mother of the group, the glue.
That's
Thanks,
so great
James.
to
I'll
hear.
turn my camera off now, because I said I won't be weeping, so I'll.
That's very kind. Thank you. Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks for that. So a question I just had for, and in a way I wrote it down and then you went on to it really about for Christina and John, was about the whole sort of end-to-end process. But I was interested in what thoughts you'd have around obviously the CSUs are going to feel better about the timeliness of the response, but where do you think that helps then in terms of us continuing being a learning organisation? Because actually we should learn from complaints and not just respond to them. They're often, because where you started this work, it was taking us so long to respond to a complaint that the learning had almost disappeared, and we just ended up with a response. But as we're making great progress, making this a much shorter time, what are your thoughts on where we can go next with that?
I absolutely think that's right, Phil. The practicalities of this is it's been a huge piece of work to do. I mean, massive. As I've said in the presentation, it's really involved everybody. We had to start somewhere. But being involved in this programme, it's the first time that I had been involved in using this kind of methodology. And actually, we've had lots of conversations about how it can be applied to different parts of the complaints activity in the organisation. And I do see a place, when we've got through this bit, to apply the same kind of methodology to things like learning from complaints and actually the themes arising from complaints. So my view is that I don't think the improvement cycle will stop for us. I actually think we've now embedded this way of working within our complaints work, and that it's just a case of using that same methodology to move into different areas of focus. And we've talked a little bit about how we've done a quality improvement faculty type of approach to look at staff attitude, and to start looking at what Datix is showing us, what it can capture, how we can then start to share it. And we're starting at that point for all of these things with what is the data, what is it telling us, and where do we start? And that's why we're reporting out today to say we're doing these really important bits of work around the data, because it's going to help inform what we do next. But that's absolutely what I think will happen. I think we're already starting to feel, okay, not that we've got timeliness in the bag, because we clearly haven't, but we do have the majority of CSUs now having conversations about that regularly. It's embedded in their work. They're having those conversations with yourselves in the quality review meetings, etc., etc. It's becoming standard work, isn't it? And so now this is our next step. I know my team believe that to be the case as well.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic, Christina, because it means that we're not just improving the process, we're actually improving the process with a purpose around that patient-centred value, which I think is really important for us. Sophie?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just a comment rather than a question, but to say it clearly is embedded, Christina and John, because 2 years down the line, you're still talking about what the data is showing you and working on it using the method. So hats off to you. It's a huge piece of work that's really valuable, and you should be proud of yourselves, because it's amazing.
We have we've been shortlisted for a final, the Patient Experience National Patient Experience Award. So we submitted the project for that. So we're going to Birmingham in a few weeks' time, and hopefully we'll be successful. But if not, it's been a great project and learning process. So thanks for the applause and the love hearts.
Fantastic. See how proud we all are of that. So fingers crossed in a few weeks. Okay, so we're pretty much at time. I can't see anybody else wanting to come in. So I just want to thank again the Estates and Facilities team and the Patient Experience team for 2 fantastic updates, the RPIW and the ongoing work with 2 really important areas to kind of, as I said, make us both the best place to work, but also making sure we're giving the best quality experience to people whose care we're responsible for. So thank you very much for coming for Report Out. That's the end of Report Out for this week. We'll see you next time.